Welcome, my friends. Welcome to Friday. I hope that you've been having a pretty good week. We were live on Wednesday, ushering in Libra, an excited new balanced energy that's going to help us, especially as we enter into this new week. So I'm hoping that the rest of your week went well. So welcome to Friday and welcome to your exploration into the next week. I know it's kind of crazy to celebrate and look at next week as we're tailing off this week. However, I do like giving you guys a little bit of a heads up so you can start to gather what you need and start to prepare and set those intentions. He's really good this morning, I won't lie. So this week we're looking at, and it's crazy in my mind, we're heading into October. We're looking at the week of September 26th through to October 2nd. It's crazy that we're taking our first couple of steps into October this week. Now, as exciting as it is to enter into a new calendar month, we're also going to be entering into Mercury retrograde on Monday, which is always exciting, right? No. I will be doing a full reading live on Monday for my Mercury retrograde on what we can expect, how we can try and use this time to our advantage, and really how we can start to lessen and minimize some of those challenges. Some of it will be touched on in my readings over the next couple of weeks as we continue to work with the Mercury retrograde energy, and they're just naturally going to come up. However, I do like to do just a very condensed, this is Mercury retrograde, this is what you can expect. How can we try and use these next 3-ish weeks to our advantage? Trying to stay on that high vibrational energy rather than getting up into the Mercury retrograde energy, because that won't help us. It will cause us more challenge. That fear of something, even though we know the challenge is there, but that fear can really minimize and lessen what we can get done. This week, I had to go with it. I saw it and I used it on something else. This is the Tarot of the Haunted House. I love it. Sasha Graham has done such a fantastic job with this deck. It's sassy and I love it. It's more, again, one of the decks I really bring out more in the fall. And I do have kind of seasonal-ish type decks just because of their colors and some of the imagery. Like I know most of it's like I've got some Christmassy style decks. I've got some more kind of Halloweeny style decks. But yeah, but Tarot of the Haunted House is a beautiful deck. Then I'm pairing it with the Enchanted Map Oracle. Kind of a standard, but very clear in trying to help encourage us forward. Like always, links below to both these decks. They're both done by major publishers, so they're pretty easy to find. All right, let's get into this. What can my friends expect? Okay, apparently that's important. From the week of October or September 26th through to October 2nd. Yeah, I said this at the beginning of September, end of August, that September, October, November roll together into December, and then we're into the new year. That always happens that way. Detail, detail, detail. Really important to be focused in on what's around you. And I like the fact that it can easily be missed. It's in the detail. It says clarity here. We need that. In the details, in that very present, mindful perspective, you're going to see what's hidden right in front of you. Those messages, that guidance and support right there. It's just we need to see the patterns, we need to be observant, and we need to really be paying attention in our here and now. We can't get caught up in the past, hung up on those what ifs, could haves, should haves, that heartache and pain. Or on the flip side of that coin, those good old days, because we like to get stuck there, or hyper focusing in on the future, what you want, those shoulds, coulds, and woulds. No, we need to be right here and right now. Now, before we even get into the weekly exploration, the beginning of the week, I will have a mindfulness meditation posted or published sometime on Tuesday, where we're looking at anchoring you into the here and now. I love how my meditations naturally, this card jumped out face first for you guys. They naturally are meaningful in, well, very important ways. So it's an anchoring tool that you can use. It does not necessarily need to be in a meditation stage. None of my meditations have to be used as a meditation stage. Once you've done them once or twice, you get that muscle memory. Not all of us have half an hour to spare to go through the meditation each time. I encourage people to do that regularly, and especially the areas where you struggle the most. And then you can use it, the tool or that guided meditation or what we explored, you can pull it through and start to use it as a tool, and your body will naturally respond to what you're trying to do. With the muscle memory, thinking of like a balancing meditation. So if, for example, the meditation I did where we're balancing the divine masculine and divine feminine, you start to naturally see that yin and yang energy. Now, if you're new to my channel and you're not sure what I'm talking about, terribly sorry, but welcome. I have 4 playlists on my channel here that are all about tools to support you. One of them is my mindfulness tools, and they're not necessarily meditations. Sometimes they come off as a meditation, and I try and use it as more of a calming, grounding tool for you. And I have 3 meditative playlists. Now, the most important thing about all these tools, they're all guided, they're all supported, and most importantly, they're all free. No strings attached. So you have those to your advantage. Use them. So that is something that's coming forward automatically. I've got everything pretty much done. I changed it at the last minute, and I love that. When I'm like, oh, I have to do this. And I don't know why, but I do. And then it's really meaningful and helpful for you guys. So let's get into the beginning of the week. What can my friends expect from the beginning of the week? Besides Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde, we have absolutely zero control over, as it's an astrological phenomenon of Mercury looking like it's going backwards in its natural orbit around the sun. On the good side, this is the last Mercury retrograde of 2021. Flip side of that coin, 2022 is 4. Now, for those who are like, I've heard of Mercury retrograde and I'm not too sure what everyone's hyped up about. Mercury, the planet, supports us with communication, interpersonal relationships. So it impacts our ability to communicate with each other. What's heard, what's said, lots of misinterpretations of information. We get computer challenges because, again, that's a modality of sharing communication and information. So it can really become wearing and taxing on society. It's not just one person, globally all around. Beginning of the week, though, got the King of Wands. That beauty in the darkness. So, of course, kings, they're the most fully developed personality. They have the most control. We're going to be able to use our willpower, our drive to push through any fear, any reservation that we may have about the week to come. Tapping into that inner fire to really push us forward. no matter what we're facing. Will we face things? Absolutely. Will it cause us to stumble? Possibly. However, we can use our natural abilities, our natural strengths to our advantage to overcome them with greater ease. The more confidence we have in ourselves, in our abilities, in our, well, to the detail. So, what tools will support me the most right now? Not being afraid to go, okay, this is my challenge. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And I'm going to go grab over here and grab these tools to bring them over here and start to maneuver our world, really owning us, our situation, and trying to overcome the problem in the highest vibrational possible. And when I say that, we're not trying to harm others. We're trying to solve things for the greater good of all. That means that that solution does not only support you, but it supports everyone around you. The low vibrational solutions, they're the ones that end up with the kind of toxic, it's all about me, that self-centered, that kind of money grabbing, money hungry energy. That comes back and kicks you in your hiney, and it's not fun. However, solutions that support the greater good of all, it makes everybody thrive. And then solutions and supports that you wouldn't have thought of, that aren't even in the scope of reality, come into play because the universe is like, ooh, and gold stars for everybody. There's more support, that vibration's higher, there's more cooperation. You can achieve more with less resource cost to you because we're supporting everyone around us. And that's really what you're looking at with the King of Wands here. Supporting others so that you guys can work as a collective. You may have that drive in that inner person. You may be that ringleader, if you will. I'm going to do this. Why don't you try that? I'm going to do this. Why don't you try that? And then other people are really going to be focusing in on you for that support and that guidance. Don't shy away from it. Be very present in your here and now. Don't get too caught up in that, ooh, look at me, I'm all about ego. That puffiness will make you fall. Trusting in that passion, that drive, that willpower to succeed and have everybody thrive will help you. Attention to detail. What is it that people are trying to say to you? What are people hearing you say? Mercury retrograde will be in play. So before you're like, okay, try this. Before you go, tell me what you just heard me say. We're in Mercury retrograde, and I want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. That way you have no hurt feelings. You don't have people doing something that is unexpected. You have people that are feeling unheard or they're challenging you in ways because there's miscommunications. So making sure you use and are being very mindful of what's happening, what's really happening. We don't want to put those rose-colored glasses on so we miss stuff. That detail will help you. It'll help you succeed and help others. Let's get into the middle of the week. What can my friends expect from the middle of the week? Like I said, on Monday, I will be live again. I'll be doing my Mercury retrograde reading. The Queen of Swords. That knowledge is coming forth. So the queens, they're fantastic, right? They're that high vibrational divine feminine energy. Now, each queen has their own little nuance, as every queen does. This queen, in the original deck that Pamela Coleman Smith drew, had this very regal woman sitting on a throne, very stiff back, a head held high, and she's holding her sword. What isn't always seen is that she's got these kind of bindings They almost look like bracelets, but you can see that they've been cut. She's learned all her knowledge through some pretty hard knocks. So we need to use that knowledge base to our advantage, really fueling that fire. What's more, I tapped on it even before we started this reading, picked it out of the air. I love it when I do that because that's when that woo-woo starts to get creepy. So that natural balance within you, the divine masculine, the divine feminine. You've got the king and queen side by side. We need that yin yang energy. I have a meditation in my Just You and Me playlist. That's exactly what we covered. Like I said earlier, once you've participated in it a couple of times, once you get that symbol and you can feel those energies starting to swirl around within you, you can use that tool to your advantage. Balanced, grounded stability is going to help us throughout Mercury retrograde, as it always does, because we feel stable and we're calm on the inside. Whereas outside, it's all sorts of crazy because you have the push and pull of Mercury in retrograde. So using that time, taking a little bit of time to have that balanced space within you will go a long way in calming you. That meditation that I talked about, it's the energy balance. I've got a natural grounded component in that meditation. You're going to have the balanced energy with the meditation itself. And you're calming yourself because we're doing the meditative breath. Win-wins, you're multitasking in an amazing way. All you're doing is breathing. It's fantastic. Helps us get that clarity, helps us see those messages that are hidden in plain sight, opens us up on our crown and third eye so we can start to retain the information, so that we can start to see that guidance that's right here all around us. All right, let's head into the end of the week. What can my friends expect from the end of the week? The world, the 21st card in the major arcana, that next chapter. These details, this guidance, this stability, this drive and ownership, guys, you need to be really connecting in and allowing that inner fire to just fuel you using that knowledge. So when we say using the knowledge, we're not just saying, oh, 1 + 2 = 3. No, no. This is stuff that we've been carrying. It's in our frontal cortex. We're using our clairs. So that thing, like everyone knows it, clairvoyance. So seeing, which FYI, most of us can't do anymore just because of how we shut it down. But we have other clairs. So yes, eventually you can start to work on your clairvoyance. But the clairvoyance and the clairaudience, so that's clear hearing, are two that we shut down due to fear. Either due to fear of what we saw/heard, or due to fear of prosecution from parents, teachers, and likewise that said we were bat poop crazy. Okay? And fear, it will subside and minimize as we start to heal and start to really strengthen our abilities. There are other ones that we did not shut down because they're socially acceptable. What? Claire is socially acceptable? Yes. So we have clairordinance, clear thinking. We were never taught to stop thinking. We were never taught to critically think. We were never taught to stop thinking. Two different things. Critical thinking is when you ask those questions. Think of it as your inner toddler being let out. But why? How come? Why isn't it this way? Using that critical assessment. The claircognizance helps us to use the frontal cortex of our brain. We're tapping into higher vibrational energy. We're gaining cues and insight from other pools. It's kind of like how, if you look at history, people came up with similar ideas built off of the same structure around the same time. How? They tapped into a thing called the collective consciousness. They tapped into that universal energy, and those ahas came flooding through. Worst part of it, we can minimize that like I can't snap the finger like that. Why? Because everybody thinks that way. Everybody knows that. No, they don't. We've done it before. We'll do it again. It's kind of our superhero thing. We can minimize and reduce what we could do in a flash. So that's one of the cars we didn't shut down. Another one is clear feeling. We were never taught to shut down our feelings because that's a total other situation, which we don't want to touch into. But those feelings are empathy, being impacted by energy, by other people, by the feelings. Some people call them their spidey senses. Ooh, not good that way. We'll go this way. Ooh, I don't like this. I'm going to try something different. Again, we minimize it. Well, of course, everyone knows not to go down that way. Or I was just following my gut. Again, minimizing our abilities. Using our clairs that we currently have and have not shut down will support us in gaining that knowledge and helping to really fuel this fire. Hi, Melissa. How are you? So, yes, we do have clairs. Yes, you can use them. And yes, I'm going to continue to support you in tapping into them. As we enter into October, which is what we're doing, especially, and it's nice that we're seeing October come forward in with the world, that next chapter. In October, what I'm going to be doing, you're going to see a lot of meditations and a lot of support on using those clairs, using your intuition, channeling information. Wow, South Africa. It's been a while since I've had someone from there. How's the weather in South Africa? Because are you guys in winter? I know Australia is, but I'm not sure if you guys are in winter too. And your winter's probably really different. I'm in Canada. We get cold. So I will help to work with you guys on your channeling. On the 8th of October, I'm going to be, I think it's the 8th. Just a sec, let me check the calendar here. Yes, the 8th. I'm going to be doing Channeling 101. I'm going to talk about how do you channel? How do you gain the insight of the high vibrational supports? So your guides, your guardians, your angels, your fairies, your dragons, whatever. It's the same tool set, just in different aspects. Okay. So I'm going to be talking about that. It's going to be a live. If you guys have questions, please feel free. You can just message me, put it in the chat, whatever. I will ask what I can. Oh, you guys are in summer and it's warm. We're in fall, thankfully. And it got some beautiful golds, reds, and oranges out there. So it's been a crazy year. So if you guys do have questions about channeling and about using some of these clairs, perfect time to ask, okay? So that's going to be coming in on the 8th. The end of the week, though, we're going to start to see that next shift. You're going to have ideas on how to go forward. Those details are going to come up. You know, we may not understand all the information that we're getting, which, guys, common, super common. I encourage people to have a binder, not a small little book, a spiritual binder, where you've got some like space to write information down. Start to look at it, because it does sometimes come in a hodgepodge like this. So you get like symbols that you don't understand. Write them down. Words, write them down. Numbers, anything, colors. It can be a lot of different just things that don't make sense, think of them as puzzle pieces. They don't make sense as a little puzzle piece. You're like, could be the sky, could be the sea, could be someone's shirt. Don't know. As we start to build and work with them, they start to become clearer. And that's exactly what we're looking at. Those next stages are going to come forward. Now, with the world, big part of this, we need to celebrate all we've come forward with. So at the end of the week, I would encourage you to do some reflection. And I know everybody's like, reflection. Well, no. It doesn't have to be a long, let's start in the time of dawn, blah, blah. No. Take the last year. What have you done in the last 9 months? How much shifting have you been able to do? What changes have you seen? And what's more, where do you keep seeing patterns come up? What challenges keep coming back and back again? Because if you're like, oh, yeah, no, I was having problems with my cousin or something. Again, why? What is that? Start to look at those patterns. Those patterns are really important because those patterns are something we need to learn from. And again, helps us. At the end of the week, we're going to see that rite of passage and starting new stuff into October. It's going to be a great October. All right, so we know what the week's going to hold. Lots of balance, lots of information, lots of fire. What challenges will my friends face at the beginning of the week? So I like to look at the challenge because it helps us to understand what we're facing and then how we can minimize that. Also a rite of passage, but it's that fear of moving forward, that fear of what could be. When we look at that fear, that's our ego coming in. We're not excited, we're not enthusiastic. It dampens the king so we don't have full control. It also minimizes our ability to tap into our natural abilities, skills, tools, and we're not using our critical thinking or frontal cortex. We're back at the base of our brain, and we're in that gut reaction, which is going to be something easily that we fall into as Mercury retrograde is starting to gear up. We like to react rather than think. That's going to be a collective problem we're going to have to be dealing with. Really emphasizing that fear of change, that movement forward. The Wheel of Fortune, the 10th card in the major arcana. That fear of the unknown, that fear of moving forward, and that instability that fear brings. Fours in tarot are about stable change. They're about stable change. That's what we're looking at more in the wand, but we're looking at that stability. We're going to feel very off kilter. We're going to be missing things. We're going to really feel that fire dampen. We're going to feel a little bit lost. So things like that grounding meditation that I had mentioned, the mindfulness tool that I'm bringing out on Tuesday, really helpful to help anchor you. I've got a lot of grounding meditations, again, that will help you. Other things that can support you, things like tiger iron, black tourmaline, any red or black crystal. It helps to connect with our root chakra, and that root helps us maintain that stability, that groundedness that we need. The middle of the week. What challenges will my friends face at the middle of the week? I get more cards in the challenges than I do on the what to expect because it's in the challenge that we need to learn from the most. The page, oh, come on. The Page of Swords. Pages are that childlike, innocent energy. It's full of excitement. It's full of wonder and joy. This one kind of has that mischievous energy too, which again, with that younger energy you get. And again, we have this playful energy of knowledge versus the mom. Think of it as a battle of wills, if you will. That inner toddler is going to be sticking their hands in the mud and not wanting to move forward, wanting to play and explore when mom's trying to get the job done. So we're going to be easily distracted. We're going to want to have fun and play, do other stuff. Avoid what this week can really help us out with. Will that be a turning point or a learning point for us? Yes, because we're going to repeat the same pattern later on in our journey. I don't know if my camera works. There we go. The Knight of Cups. Knights, the big cousin or brother to the page, they are that adolescent energy, that no fear energy. That cup, it's our intuition and our emotion. Really talking about how we're going to feel like we're going through puberty again. That up and that down. That roller coaster of emotions. Do not be surprised as Mercury retrograde starts really getting into swing here as we're getting into the middle of the week, that energy, that emotion doesn't start to swing up and down. Grounded, stable energy, balanced energy will go a long way in minimizing that puberty effect where we're overreacting, that we're blowing things out of proportion. It's the middle of the week. And we have the moon. There we go. The 18th card in the major arcana. That fear is going to persist through into the middle of the week. The fear of the unknown, the fear of the dark, if you will. We don't know what's happening. And these messages can be challenging to see because we do have to take that time. We're not going to feel like we have it because we're going to be pulled. The moon usually, and here you have two, I think they're Doberman pinchers in the picture. In the original card, though, Pamela Coleman Smith had a wolf and then just a Heinz 57 dog. Now, that talks about that balance of that wild primal side versus that very kind of reserved domestic side. Again, really talking about that yin and yang and that up and down of energies that we're going to feel. Taking that time, nurturing you will go a long way. So when I say that, taking time for things like making sure you get the sleep you need, making sure that if you can, fitting in meditations where you can, making sure you are grounded so that you're not so swayed by this roller coaster of energies. Like I said, we don't shut down our clair of that clear feeling. The more open we are to the messages, to all these things hidden in plain sight, the more you're going to feel those energies. It's like opening up the window or the door. You let more light in. You also let in the breeze and everything else. So you need to make sure that you're protecting yourself. You need to make sure that you're taking that time for you to not be so negatively impacted by all that's going on. Now, ways you can do that, crystals are fantastic. And if you're new to this, I do have a Crystal 101 where I talked about how you can start things off. Things like selenite, super helpful for clearing out some of these unwanted energies. And then also things like I said, black tourmaline, tiger iron will help with that groundedness. We need that. We need that stability so we can make the better choices for us. All right, let's go on to the end of the week. What challenges can my friends face at the end of the week? 3 of Cups. Such a unique take on the three. So the 3 of Cups, I like to call this the Triforce Perfecta, where you're working with self, you're working with your supports, your physical support team, and your spiritual support team. With that collaboration, you're going to get more understanding of all these little puzzle pieces. However, we're not going to be working with our support teams too much. We're going to be challenging them. Well, the physical support team, everybody's going to be impacted by Mercury retrograde. That's a global phenomenon. Well, I wouldn't say phenomenon, but a global challenge, if you will. And we're already going to have this sense of fear come through the week. So we're feeling disconnected from our spiritual support team. Using our words because we're in that fear state. We're using the back of the brain rather than the front. So it's about using those words, talking to your physical support team. And again, checking in. What did they hear? What are you hearing? And continuing to push forward with your spiritual support team. We need to look at this fear, start to release it so that it's not holding you back. The 4 of Swords. And many of us are going to feel that way. We're going to feel like stuff is climbing out from underneath the couch or sofa or the bed for us, like, the boogeyman. Again, that fear, right? The 4 of Swords talks about not only that stability, but it talks about that rest and rejuvenation. We need to rejuvenate and really focus in on us so that we can grow, that we can feel better and stronger. Now, we do have the double 4s. Anytime we have that multiple 4, the angels are telling us that this is a time that we really need to be focused in on that grounded, stable energy. Really reconfirming what I'm saying about the stability. Come on. There we go. The Empress, the 3rd card in the major arcana. That growth, that fertility. Do I mean baby making fertility? Not necessarily. Fertility, that growth, producing things, creating things. We're not going to have that connection, that groundedness, that stability to focus in on stuff that would really support us and help us to create what it is we want, whether that be a baby or not. That fear, that unknown, that heartache and pain will flow and will really hamper all that this week is going to offer you. So taking that time, making sure we are releasing some of this fear. And one of the easy ways that I can help you with that is that I've got a lot of different meditations on releasing some of this negative energy, whether it be fear, anxiety, heartache, and pain. The one that's slowing you down the most, that's really wrenching and anchoring you into this fear, is the one you want to release the most. All my meditations have that component of groundedness, so they'll help. But those releasing ones, they actually will say, like, releasing fear, releasing anxiety. Whether you want to work with the angels or archangels, that's a choice for you. My Just You and Me meditative series also has a lot of releasing meditations. So you've got that choice. Now we do have multiple 3s. In angel messages, when you have that multiple 3, angels are telling you something close to your heart needs to be expressed. We're not going to be able to do that if we're all caught up in that fear base or that pain base or the both, because a lot of times they go hand in hand, right? Okay, let's go on to any further supports, guidance, and wisdom that we can share. Okay, my friends, for the week September 26th, okay, through October 2nd. Won't lie, my finger's healing very, very slowly. Tried to amputate it a couple weeks ago. I cut it really nicely, and shuffling decks and cards can be a bit of a challenge. Come together. We can't do this journey alone. We were never supposed to. We need to take that time, use our words, connect in with our physical support team and our spiritual support team so that we can work in collaboration, so that we can get what we want done. We signed up for something. It's just none of us remember what it is. We don't want to relive the same. We want to move forward and really start to connect into what's going to be meaningful and fulfilling for us so that we don't have to repeat this pattern. Mhm. Ride the wave. So when we swim upstream, we're using more of our natural abilities, our energies, our time. We feel exasperated and just depleted. Instead of embracing what's currently happening, using the tools that are readily available to us, our supports that are readily available to us, to do what we need to do in the here and now, focusing in and staying in the here and now rather than getting caught up in the past or the future. So, staying and using this momentum that we have, it may not be the path that you want to be on. However, when you're working with everything that you possibly can, really engaging in your everyday, getting out of that mindset of, oh, well, this is what society wants, this is what everybody else wants of me, and starts to tap in to what's really important to you, you'll see things fall into place. Using that balance, your passion, that willpower, and your knowledge, you're going to see things start to naturally shift. We're not swimming upstream, we're using that stream to propel us forward faster in a more stable manner. And I mentioned this earlier. I didn't say cleaning house, but I did mention releasing. Letting go of stuff that isn't helping you right now, that's slowing you down, that fear, that pain, that heartache, that resistance you're having. Start to release it. The more you release and take care of yourself, which is something that we're going to have a resistance to, because we've got it in the Four of Swords. It's a challenge. The more we're going to feel lighter and more able to be present for us. Being able to use our frontal cortex to create solutions that are high vibrational for everybody and moving everybody forward on that high vibration. Like I said, the beginning of the week, we're going to be seen as a leader. We have that opportunity. The middle of the week, we're going to be able to continue that leadership role in possibly a less dominant kind of frontal support, like, this is me, I'm giving you orders, in a more nurturing, feminine way where you're using your frontal cortex and your knowledge to your advantage. You're going to see that movement, right? So that release will help you to connect into those two roles. Absolutely. And I mentioned this earlier. Making a choice. The 30th card in the Major Arcana. Adding to our multiple threes, talking about that choice. We need to make those choices for our greater good. Now, don't worry if one seems purple and one seems lighter. As you can see, it's up to you which one you choose. Some are naturally choosing the purple. Some are naturally choosing the yellow. Both are learning opportunities. Both will take you to the ability to move yourself forward towards the same goal, but in a different way. It's not a right or a wrong. It's just different learning opportunities. Now, as I was picking up this card, I noticed that we have Ride the Wave, which is the 14th card. Well, we also have this wonderful King, 14th card in the Minor Arcana. When you have multiple 14s, the angels are reminding you to be cautious of the energies that you're putting out. So they're going to come back at you. We've been talking about, right? Making sure we're staying in that frontal cortex where you're staying in that high vibration so you don't get caught up in that reactive. You're thinking things through. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. And I hope this gave you a better understanding of what you can expect for the week to come. Like I said, Monday I will be live for a Mercury retrograde reading. Tuesday, we're going to have the Anchor meditation available sometime in the morning. And then Friday, I will be back live to explore the full first week in October. Like this video, I know it's cliche, give it a thumbs up. It helps people find me on the sea of YouTube, and it helps that vibration to start to shift around you. Also, if you did like this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit that little red bell. As you can tell, I'm quite frequent on my channel. I like to post stuff, and it's not always on the same day. My live readings for the week are pretty much on Fridays. However, I do post throughout the week as well. So this way you can stay up to date and posted when I'm on and what's happening. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. And until tomorrow, my friends,